Well, we've got the whole gang back together for a super spooky Mariners Sogcast.
Ooh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Nate.
And I'm the Hamburglar.
We got Owen back.
Welcome
That's
back.
right.
Welcome back.
I'm here to steal your buns.
He made the trip back from Oregon for our special Halloween episode and for us to kind of wrap up the season as a whole. World Series is going on, and the Mariners are not in it.
Shocking.
That's a bummer.
Paul Sewald's there.
Paul Sewald is there.
An 88-74 record wasn't enough to get it done.
Nope.
Now, we foresaw that, though. I mean, 90 wins was kind of the threshold where we weren't sure, and 92 was kind of like the number where I was sure we'd make a playoff spot. The AL East became a race between three teams, which we didn't foresee at the beginning of the year. The Rangers, the way that they built their team, really took over the AL West, and the Mariners were in the race until the end. But we didn't do enough, so we got some things to say about our team performance, front office, analytics department, everything.
One thing that's kind of interesting about the two World Series teams, the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, is one team spent a shit ton of money and the other team didn't as much. Texas Rangers have really spent a lot of money to bolster their roster and to grow, and it worked out for them. But on the flip side, you have, the Dodgers not making it, the Padres and the Mets not even making it. Yeah, the Braves, a bunch of high-profile teams opening their pockets.
Big upsets, too.
Yeah. So it is kind of interesting, and how much money should the Mariners spend? But it's clear the answer is more than they did, right?
Some to a lot.
Yeah. But I can see how people could be apprehensive because, look at the Dodgers payroll. Look at the Mets, da-da-da-da-da-da. And the Diamondbacks were able to do it, but the Rangers are also doing it with spending that money.
You could argue that the Angels made bigger moves than the Mariners did at the deadline. You know what I mean? Like the Diamondbacks made their move for Sewald because they needed that lockdown bullpen guy, and it didn't help the Mariners at all, even though it helped our team become more flexible. But the Rangers added a lot at the deadline, and the Mariners didn't get the guys to really seal the deal. You know what I mean? They just kind of made it so that we have more of a platoon lineup, and we hoped that we could get those wins at the end of the season and get hot again. Because the Mariners had a cold, hot, cold season, right? We started cold, we ended cold. It didn't. We didn't have any sustainable win streaks except for that middle part of the season, which is not really what we want, right? We want our team to start off hot or end hot, or both. Those are the most important times, honestly. The Rangers got cold in the middle of the season, but they still pulled it out because they were so hot at the beginning of the season and they knew what they could do. They were confident in what they'd done already, so they could get that back more easily once their best players came off of IL,
I think the highest paid player on the Diamondbacks got DFA'd. I think isn't it Bumgarner?
It's Bumgarner?
Yeah. He got DFA'd in April.
Does he get a ring if they win?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I think, isn't it kind of up to team discretion on who gets rings and stuff? But
I have no idea.
Usually
I'd give him one. I'll just say that.
Yeah, why not? But I think one thing that overlaps between the Diamondbacks and the Rangers is good coaching, good at bats, and being able to fight. The Rangers, as Matt said, slipped when the Mariners were getting hot, but they had the fight and the drive to finish and to still, they were the wild card. Astros actually took the division.
And they added to their starting pitching when they needed it most.
Mm-hmm. And then you look at the Diamondbacks, and again, pesky, fighters, great at bats, and fighting all the way through. You look at game 1 of the World Series, a back and forth affair that really any team could have took. And our boy Paul Sewald with the blown save.
Yeah, it's Corey Seager there with
Sad.
the clutch homer, though. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know who to root for. I want the D-backs, but to see Corey Seager do that, it's pretty epic. That's one of the moments that I won't forget about this World Series. Paul Sewald's first runs of the whole
playoff, yeah, which is amazing.
Oof.
He has more saves this postseason. Not more.
It's a
I think
walk and a
like
bomb.
it's almost comparable to like how many the Mariners have total in their whole franchise history. He's got like 6. We have like 8.
Also, Corey Seager is exactly why you spend the money. You see that big player in a big situation, and down the stretch, the Mariners just didn't really have that free agent bat that, in a close game in September, couldn't get the job done, and the Rangers paid for that.
Yeah, we were hoping to develop guys into those types of spots, right? We have a lot of young players. Julio, how much can you trust Julio in the biggest situations? Jared Kelenic hurt himself in the middle of the year when we kind of needed him the most, and didn't make the most of his biggest opportunities either. We didn't have that impact bat. We tried to sign Teoscar Hernandez to make a big impact, and he struck out a lot, even though he hit 30 bombs, right? I mean, damn near. He did his thing, but and Suarez had a down year power-wise as well. So,
Speaking of Teoscar,
yeah, we have to have that conversation, eh?
what do you think? Do the Mariners try and pay to keep him on the roster, or do they say thanks for the 1 year and
Are you asking if they will or if they should?
both?
What do you think?
I think they'll throw the qualifying offer at him, but I don't think they're going to pay him to do what he did.
Is it a risk to throw the qualifying offer? It's like about $20 million, right? So
Yeah.
it'd be a 1 year, $20 million deal.
Sure, it's a risk, but I don't think it's that big of a risk. What if the risk is like, what if he takes us up on this offer? Then we get Teoscar for another year. Sick. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's
But-
just a 1 year investment.
Yeah, and
But I'm saying, what
like,
if we spend 20 mil for him to almost lead the league in strikeouts again? You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money
Well,
for a lot of strikeouts.
that makes the question, like, what do we expect from Teoscar in the future? Do we expect a similar year to what he's had now? Like, is he on the downtrend of his career getting into his 30s here, or do we expect him to get back into form and, like, do better than he did this year?
And do you see him, is he used to the soggy first half of the season with the marine layer and everything? Does he want to go through that again and play like shit up until the All-Star break?
I'll say, for me personally, I wouldn't even throw him the qualifying offer. My reasons for that are, one, we don't need his defense. So
No, not
you're
at all.
essentially spending $20 million for a DH you hope does well.
True.
And they didn't give Carlos Santana $8 million, and he performed when it mattered. He had that clutch factor, and the Mariners wouldn't give him $8 million or $7 million, whatever it was. So I don't envision the Mariners dropping 20 mil for a potential DH. But then again, who knows? That could be DePoto's master plan of, you want us to spend money and then spend money on bullshit.
Could be.
I don't know. I don't see it happening. And I'm okay if it doesn't happen.
I don't think they're going to throw him the qualifying offer. They might just move on and try to spend money elsewhere. You know what I mean? $20 million is kind of a slog you get into where you're like, oh, but we can't spend on that guy because now we paid him $20 million. But it's still just a 1 year deal. Like, I hope it's not a big deal if we do sign him for $20 million for 1 year. And it wouldn't be the worst thing. And if he declines also, then and he signs elsewhere for, I think it's $50 million, then we get a better draft pick also. And I'm not sure how well he'll sign on the market, how many years or how many millions. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're just going to pursue other options without having to worry about that 20 million in the balance, because that's kind of a lot.
Is there any kind of situation where they go, hey man, we're going to throw you the qualifying offer. Feel free to deny it. We get a pick out of it. You get to test your free agency market. Kind of a win-win. You'll probably get picked up by somebody. Like, How about hook us up with a little bit of a pick? Like, is that even a possibility, or is that some shady backroom dealings?
No, I think that's just part of the business of baseball, honestly. And these players, they're not naive to it. They know that the game is a business, and it's kind of, a balancing act of a player for like where they want to play or how much money they want. Like, you look at someone like Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant has given up on winning. He doesn't care about winning. He wants the fat paycheck that he got from Colorado. Yeah, and it's clear that, okay, he had his World Series ring with the Cubs in 2017. He doesn't care about winning anymore. He only wants to get paid, and that's his prerogative as a player. Some players definitely want to go to win, and they'll take a discount, and it all just goes by person basis. But they are aware that it's a business, and hometown discounts are awesome when a team is like, no, or when a player is like, I really like this team, I'll take a discount to play for them. But then teams can go right around and throw that player in the garbage.
Right.
Like, I will never blame a player for chasing a paycheck. Make that money.
Totally. That's what you're there to do. Play the game and get paid.
Yeah. And yeah, just a kind of a personal thing of what Teoscar wants to do. Does he care more about winning? Does he care more about money? I won't fault him.
Does he even like Seattle?
Yeah, that's true too. A lot of players don't like playing here. So
it's wet.
So we have Julio in center field. Are we hoping Jared Kelenic is a lock in the outfield?
Owen is.
I mean,
that's right.
Well, if we don't,
JK supporter is back.
What
baby.
I mean if we don't sign Teoscar back, I mean, Jared Kelenic has to be a lock in our outfield, because if we don't sign Teoscar, we have like Sam Haggerty and nobody. So
Canzone.
Well, that's true, Canzone, but like, are we just gonna keep being mediocre?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we need to sign
54%, baby.
Big power hitting right fielder or left fielder, right? Corner outfielder.
I would love
I think
that.
so.
You got it.
We need to. Like, the Mariners need to open the checkbook a little bit. We need to sign at least one big free agent. I mean, there's a couple guys on the market that could swing the bat a bit.
I'll hop in. I agree with that 100%. No matter what, the Mariners need to sign at least one big name. They need to show a little bit of, just show us that you at least care.
Yeah,
like we care.
There's too much complacency in everything they've shown us and told us. And we're going to kind of get into the weeds there. And what Dipoto said, what the ownership has shown based on what they've been doing, upgrading the stadium and buying property in the city rather than investing in the product on the field. And, there's a lot of profit over product right now, and it's disappointing to fans that have been in it for a long time. This is the time to spend, and it's obvious that this is kind of the last push for the fans need to get kind of rowdy and make them spend money. They need to open the checkbook. The ownership group has money. They have money. They own a baseball team.
They're not hurting.
They can sign any player, So we'll see how much they want to open that checkbook and give Dipoto the reins to go sign those players, because I don't think that his money has been very big. He hasn't been given the right amount to make the move that we want to see. And he has to take the heat for that at the end of the season, sitting there in front of everybody looking like an idiot.
Yeah, we can move right into what we've missed over the last month or so of not doing episodes.
Yes.
Well, the biggest one is the
Dipoto
Dipoto.
looking like an idiot in
Media
front of
blunder,
everybody.
yeah.
Boo. That's some bullshit.
Dipoto really thinks he can get by on just kind of looking like Tom Brady. It's like, we get it. You're kind of handsome, but we want to see dubs. We're not here to see your pretty face, Dipoto.
54%. Fuck out of here, bro.
Us Mariner fans, we need to be patient. We want to talk about patient? This is my entire damn life I have spent liking a shitty baseball team. They have been shitty for most of my life. I have been nothing but patient. Year in and year out. And you know what? I buy my opening day tickets. I buy my season tickets. I buy gear. I support the team. And, you know, I have them tattooed on my body. Shit, half the people in this pod have a Mariners tattoo. You know, we love this team and just be better. Be better for your fans. Care, you know?
It was so insulting to hear him say, like, the fans should see this as we're doing the fans a favor.
Oh, I wanted to throw hands.
Just be patient, trust us. Like, what fucking reason have you given us to trust you over the past, well, really 20 plus years of our lives?
We've already been patient. They've already been in the office for 6 years.
8 years, I think.
Yeah, it's 8 years.
years?
And
8 years.
they have one playoff win, right?
That's not really earning my trust,
2.
in my opinion.
2. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like I was saying, we're kind of reaching that last push for like the fans' patience. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna push the fans over the edge. I don't like ending the season on the note where it's like, dudes, spend the money. Like, what are you doing? You're one of the highest grossing teams
They
in
are
the
the
major
highest.
leagues over the last few years, and like the fans are behind it. We have so many new fans. We just had the All-Star game here. Julio Rodriguez is a young star in the game. We have rising stars on our team. Add someone huge. Add a star player. We're not like the biggest market, but our ownership group has the money to spend, and we're still like middle of the pack in spending on our payroll. We can easily add 1 or 2 like huge players like the Rangers did, like the Mets did, like teams are willing to do to go win. And now the we need to kick that window wide open and make it apparent that we're here for real. You know, like it hasn't been that way. We've just been picking around the edges and like picking up players on the margins and trying to make them something they're not, and ragtag team of like I don't know. Like,
yeah, bro.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
literally trying to moneyball the fucking roster.
I was just gonna say, this is not the time to play Moneyball. What the fuck
We're
are
not,
you doing?
No.
Well, and
And you
I
can't blame Dipoto for it. He's got a budget to work on.
And
I mean,
being,
it goes higher than that.
I mean, but I'll throw a little.
Everyone is deserving of criticism, from
Yes,
the players
yeah.
all the way up to the owners. Like,
Yes.
let's be real about
Dipoto
that.
has built something nice, but we need to add now. Now it's time to buy, you know, and that they need to open that checkbook.
No, bro. It's like he built the fucking Titanic. It's really pretty and beautiful, but then it goes out to sea and sinks. It's like, what's the fucking
Yeah.
point?
being
Well, it
number
just-
one in profitability too the last 2 years is not the brag that they think it is. Like, we're not an S&P 500 company or a
I know,
fucking
it is.
baseball team. We should be, barely breaking even to try to win ball games.
You know, what are you doing with that money? Why aren't you
They put
spending it?
in
A parking ride.
Oh, we're gonna
got a
build a
parking
parking
ride.
garage. Yeah, cool.
so we can charge you more for parking and then not put any of that money towards the damn team.
The whole winning 54% of games thing, like on average over a certain amount of years. So the whole thing he said, it just reminds me of like having a fantasy football running back and you're on the goal line and you get stuffed and then like you just hope he falls in the end zone and you win, you get the points. And it's like, dude, we don't want to just sit here and get stuffed at the goal line every time we get into the playoffs. Like, let's punch straight through into the end zone, like it is football season, so I'm making this reference. But we want to get in the end zone. We want to fucking burst through into the playoffs and deep into them instead of just being on the margins. It sucks to just be on the margins of the playoffs.
I personally don't care if we, do something that hurts us in 2029 or whatever, if it means that we have a World Series window for the next handful of years, 2-3 years preferably, during Julio's prime, during JP's prime still.
Cal, Raleigh.
Cal, or all of our young
Logan.
pitchers. Like, this is our window. Like, don't keep just trying to be barely over 500 every year for the next, 10 years and be like, oh, well, at least we'll still be 54% in 2029.
Let's ensure that we're competitive for the next 3 years straight, like CS bound. You know what I mean? Let's do it right now. Like we have to pay money for big players and bolster our roster right now.
I mean, look at the ALCS. 7 straight years the Houston Astros have made it to the American League Championship Series and are playing for a World Series. 7 straight years.
I hate him.
I hate them too, but they know how to win over there. cheating or not, they know how to win ball games. And the Mariners, you look at the Mariners, especially like through our lifetime, so many years they finished 15th overall, 16th overall, just middle of the pack.
I think we've said before, that's worse than being a shitty baseball club.
100%.
Yeah, it is, because
It
you're
hurts.
just mediocre enough to give your fans hope, but then never accomplish shit.
Right.
And so,
It's a big tease.
yeah. And now you're not getting the upper draft picks to bolster your roster. Although the Mariners did in the most recent draft have 3 overall draft picks in the first round, which was the first time that's happened since I think the Twins in like 2016 or something like that. So it's been a handful of years. But also draft picks in baseball are so finicky. You can have some guy drafted in the first round that never makes it to the majors, and you have some high school kid drafted in the 27th round that has an illustrious career.
Then you got a Mike Piazza or something.
Yeah, some
Do you guys know that a softball player was drafted before Mike Piazza? That is 100% true.
Piazza was drafted as like a favor to some guy's
Yes.
business
It was
partner. I
it was
don't
like
know,
Mike Piazza's uncle
Yeah.
like knew a baseball GM, and he was like, can you draft my nephew? And they're like, yeah, we'll draft him in the 240th round.
I think Cal Raleigh just joined Mike Piazza in like the catcher in his first 2 years. He's 3 years, the most home runs in the first couple of years of their career. It's just behind Mike Piazza.
I don't even remember who was drafted behind Dustin Ackley that we could have had a shot at. I remember it's a pretty good list, and I think I've blocked that out of my memory because it's too painful.
Wasn't it Trout?
No, Trout was like pick 20. I think it was Strasburg. Was Strasburg?
No, Strasburg was the first pick
He
that
was?
draft. But yeah, I think Trout was drafted after we drafted Ackley. He was on the board
Well,
when we drafted.
Trout was drafted like 18th or 20th, so he had some teams, multiple teams. So I won't really blame that on the Mariners because, like,
Lightning struck on that one. Like,
yeah, and also, like, it's not like Trout was the 2nd overall pick. You know what I'm saying? Plenty of teams had passed on Trout. And Dustin Ackley, on paper, he won the Golden Spikes Award, best college player in the nation. But you never know how it's going to translate to the major league roster. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Look at a guy like Evan Carter on the Rangers right now. He came up for like the last month of the season, and like people know he's good, but how good is he going to be? He looks like Kyle Tucker out there. Like
He's very fun
he
to
looks
watch.
really, really good already defensively. He's locked into the game. Like you can trust that guy. He's a rookie. You can trust that guy for another week, Like it's crazy, but his splits are really bad. He can only hit against right-handed pitching. But still, like that's kind of an example of you never know who's going to come up and make the impact that they do, and who's going to have a sustainable career versus like hot and cold or just a breakout and then a fade out. And it's hard to tell. I mean, there's Juan Soto is on the market, right?
I don't want Soto.
That seems like the big name going around right now.
Shohei
People want
Has he done
Soto.
it? Has Soto been productive in Padres?
San Diego.
San Diego has been a shit show.
Well, yeah, I know that teams are but has Soto himself been productive?
Juan Soto has been fine, I'm sure, but like
Well, we don't know.
I can look it up if
I
you
thought
want.
I thought when he first got there, he
Look,
played
Juan
like shit.
Soto has a ton of talent.
And he's young.
He hasn't been injured. He's still, like 24 years old or something like that. He's going to have a great another like 10 years in his career where he has an opportunity to do something. It's not like he had ACL surgery or like, he's fine. He still has all the potential of being a great player. I think everybody on the Padres has had a tough time. That place seems like
It's cursed.
yeah, it's pretty dark. Like, but they need to figure something out. And Juan Soto seems to be on the move. So, I mean, the Mariners have the opportunity to do that.
Here's some Juan Soto stats from this year. He had 156 hits, 35 home runs,
Damn.
109 RBIs,
Damn.
Okay.
and an on-base percentage of 410.
Well, there you go.
So
You got me.
Honestly, I was actually one of the ones when the Soto like trade rumors were going up. I was pretty anti-Soto. But I think it was because what the Mariners would have to give up for him. And at that point, I wasn't ready for it. I thought it was the wrong move. And I was kind of mistaken on that.
Pretty anti-Soto. You already know, though.
Juan Soto. Yeah, I mean, we would have had to give up a lot of prospect capital for sure, our top prospects, and a huge package to get him at the time. And now the market is different on him. His contract is shorter. I don't know if we have to trade for him or is he a free agent?
Did he not sign a fat deal with the Padres? I thought that was like the whole thing. They like traded.
I think it's
signed
trade
a short
rumors.
deal. Yeah, but well, I'll check that out real quick. Who else though? Like Shohei Ohtani is on the market. Do we get him to hit for us until he can pitch again?
Can he play right field?
Nope, can't
Can't
throw.
throw.
Can't throw nothing.
Well, that's
DH.
like having Teoscar out there.
Yeah.
he can hit though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
just
mean,
throw him
who
at
else
DH
can hit
for
on
a
our
year.
team?
He can hit. That's
Honestly,
for
Yeah,
sure.
but no, yeah, like
Anyone who picks up Ohtani, that's exactly what you have to do. You DH him, and then
Also-
that's it. So
also Otani's like a huge financial draw. Like that's a no-brainer.
And that's the thing. It depends if the Mariners. The Mariners already have a huge like working relationship with Japan. The Mariners have had that since the 90s when Nintendo was a majority owner of the Mariners. They have a working relationship there. I hope that Stanton, the owner, realizes that if you spend the money to get Shohei Ohtani on your roster, it will come back tenfold.
oh, 100%.
I mean, 100-fold. The dude
Yeah.
it just brings in money. He's one of the most fun players in baseball.
He's not an asshole either. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He is a good guy.
Yeah.
If you want to make money and add to your roster, yeah, it seems like a good fit. You have to spend a lot, but the return is immense.
Yes. So
I mean, okay, so sorry, I got Juan
No, you're
Soto's contract. He's on a 1-year, $23 million contract in 2023. So he's a free agent 2025. Maybe there's an option there in 2024.
is he requesting a
Arbitration.
trade or something?
Arbitration 4 in 2024. So, I mean,
I think he's just like on a 1-year deal with a team option.
it says 2025 free agent, but he's paid in 2023, but 2024 just says arbitration, so we don't know how much he's paid. I think he's signed through 2024.
Okay. So Soto might not be an
It would-
immediate.
It would be a trade for an extension possibility.
Right.
Well, probability.
So, I mean, honestly, though, how much... I know for me personally, I can completely write off this past season being a bust if we sign Shohei Ohtani in the
That's not the
offseason.
first time you've said that.
Yeah,
either.
no, like on it, like that will make everything better. I will let this season be a shit show. It won't bother me if we sign Shohei. And yeah, he needs Tommy John. He can only hit. Who cares? He's still one of the best damn hitters in baseball. So he was one of the best hitters and one of the best pitchers. So he can't pitch for at least a year and a half due to his second Tommy John surgery. So that can help the Mariners financially because he's not earning as much.
And offensively, because he can hit the ball over the fence and slug 1,000. Like,
Yeah.
like what? Like, yeah. I mean,
And you
it
don't
only
have to pay him
helps.
$600, $700 million.
Just spending $3, which he
Sure.
deserves.
Oh, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, we look at like Bryce Harper. Didn't he get Tommy John?
Bryce Harper did get
And
Tommy
he's
John.
still killing it. Or they were until they got eliminated. But I mean, he was killing it. He had a couple of bombs, like clutch bombs. Like just getting Shohei, like it was. I know I say it so fucked up. Shohei.
It's okay, man.
Oh, I've been reading too much manga.
Then maybe
this-
you'd pronounce it right.
Yeah.
well, no.
Reading too much MAGA.
I don't have. If we get Ohtani, it's just like it seems like a no-brainer to me. It seems like the front office, all they really care about is like revenue, and it's like, okay, we spend like $600 million or whatever it is, $300 million.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're gonna make like $5 billion in like 5 years. Like,
Invest
Yeah.
in the product. Let's go.
and it's like it's not even like a situation where you get like a big name who can't perform very well. It's like you get a big name and they can perform like exceptionally well.
Yeah, it's not Jock Peterson or Hunter Renfroe. It's Shohei Ohtani
Cody Bellinger.
or Cody Bellinger even. Like, dude, I would sign Cody Bellinger.
I mean, I would too. He's definitely had some down years.
He's a lefty platoon for Ty France / DH / outfielder. Like,
No, fuck that. If we're spending that money for
he's
Cody
good,
Bellinger, he's
man.
a starter,
He
like
was good
100%.
for the Cubs too. We'll see what the Cubs do, but I wouldn't mind throwing his name into guys Mariners should get.
Nate, who's on your list of Mariners or dudes who the Mariners should go after? Or
Pretty much just Shohei. I
That's
think we've
it?
already talked about.
Do you care about
I mean,
the Juan Soto
it's
thing?
improbable. I'm kind of indifferent on Juan Soto. It'd be cool to have him, but yeah, I mean, if we trade for him, who knows if he wants to sign an extension after a year? Is he a 1-year rental player?
if you had your pick of anybody in the league, who would you sign? Like,
Oh, I like this game.
No restrictions, you know?
No restrictions.
Can I have a
Like
beer too?
Yeah, who's your, like, dream Mariner?
Acuna.
Nice.
Oh,
I was thinking
that,
of
I mean,
Cubs.
dude,
Sick.
what, 70 stolen bases? this year?
70, the first 40,
We're
70
gonna
season
trade
ever.
for Acuna. No limits.
Yeah,
The Brave, yeah.
He's
A
got a very
no-limit signing.
team-friendly contract too. Just let's just trade with the Braves for him. Imagine him and Julio in the outfield.
Fuck, I wish.
Could you imagine? I mean, let's go full fantasy here.
That's what I'm saying. This
Let's
is kind
go
of a
full.
CS guy.
Let's go full spank bank.
Yeah.
I'm talking Julio Rodriguez.
Ellie De La Cruz.
I'm talking Acuna.
Yeah.
I'm talking Juan Soto.
That's
You
an
can put
outfield.
any of them
That'd
in
be-
left, right, center. I mean, this is just a dream scenario.
I'd be worried about them running into each other at full speed. 'Cause they're all
Let's just
so
put
good.
3 center fielders
just
out
3
there.
center fielders.
Might be too much coverage, and we might have to just play 2 outfielders the whole season.
What if the Mariners are so good, we only have 2 outfielders?
We play a
Changing the
5-man
game.
infield.
They have to rewrite the baseball rules for us. Like your
First team with 2
outfielders,
catchers.
outfielders have to start on second base and then run to the position.
The center fielder just plays barely on the grass outside of the infield so that the middle infielders don't have to shift at all. You just have an up the middle infielder.
Second base doesn't get to move. He
Yeah.
just has to stand there.
You have Julio standing behind second, but so shallow center.
Yep.
And then you have Acuna and Soto covering the rest of the ground.
Yep, left center and right center.
There you go.
They're both center fielders. That makes sense. Let's sign them all.
Let's sign
go.
everybody.
Let's trade everything.
What if the Mariners just sign every single free agent and then no other team can bolster their roster? Because the Mariners have a 75-man team.
Okay, we're
That's
just
a
talking
bold
nonsense now. What's going on? But
We went a little off the rails.
realistically, do we have a chance at signing Shohei or Juan Soto?
I would put.
Yeah, there's
more-
a chance.
I
There's
would
always a
put.
chance.
There's always a chance.
Do you think the pressure is going to be on the front office to make that type of move right now?
That is actually an excellent question. All right, I'll get back more into serious mode. I think the pressure should be on the front office. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't think the front office really gives a shit.
It seems like they're real complacent.
Yes, and you see that also with Dipoto constantly moving the goalposts back. That's like his job security of, oh, just another year. Oh no, we're kind of grown. We're building something. Give me another year. And he just.
But I've had a 10-year plan this whole time. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
he takes a lot of arrows because of the budget he's given to work with. You know, he works within the margins because the budget is so restricted, and I think it's time to unleash the budget so that he can actually make the moves that make this team over the top. He is a rebuild and like work on the margins kind of guy because that's the budget he's been given with the Angels and with the Mariners. We need to see that transformation into a winning a World Series type of team now. So we need to switch gears. Like I don't want to see more of the same.
Dude, you're so right. He gets. I mean, I can criticize Dipoto for the things he's done. He's definitely deserving of criticism. But at the same time, to go to bat for him, he gets thrown to the lions. Why is he talking to the media at all? Why is there not a guy for that?
John Stanton didn't talk to the media when he was up there at the end of the year. Apparently, he was in the room but hiding in a corner, kind of, and like
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
watching
he
his
puts Dipoto on stage and watches him get lit up.
Yeah, and he did not
He
do
doesn't
well
deserve
under
that. That's not his
pressure,
job.
and like it doesn't feel good for anybody. Like I want to respect Dipoto, but it sucks to see him have to be up there answering the toughest questions and trying to make a joke, maybe,
Right.
or
Yeah, that whole thing was
having
bullshit.
to defend himself, or like
But
you know.
there is a side to that argument where that's not completely his fault.
I just want to see the
They
budget
prop
grow.
him up and say, go for it, and he looks like an idiot.
Yeah, I just want to see the redemption arc here. I want to see the checkbook opened and Dipoto with the big moves to bolster this team and make it something for the next 3 to 5 years, especially.
Just give it. And you know what? Mariners fans,
I'm not,
we are complacent. We
We
deal
let a
with
lot of shit
mediocrity.
slide, yeah.
We deal with a lot of mediocrity, and you know what? We're still trying to find the silver lining, trying to put a positive spin on it. We don't want to be all doom and gloom, and because we don't have a choice, we would all be in an institution if we were doom and gloom about the Mariners. You have to be positive. You have to have this
yeah.
sunny disposition, and it's just like, just reward us. We've been such diehard fans for so long. Just throw us a damn bone. And was that our bone? The wild card last year?
You bet.
And then just another drought? I mean, the drought has officially started. We're at 1. So just one wild card playoff appearance every 20 years. Is that what we have to look forward to?
That's our 54%.
That is, I don't know, it was 88 and 74, 54%.
I'm not a mathematician.
It is.
Is it really?
Yes.
That is so grimy.
Yeah.
That's how it turned out.
Wait,
Well,
really?
Yes.
So our record this year.
That was like part of the whole thing. He went up there and was like, if we win 54% of our games, we'll make the playoffs more times than not.
Yeah, like I was,
And we won 54% of our games and did not make the playoffs.
and like
That's why it was so shitty.
I didn't know that. I mean, I was aware of the comments and everything. I wasn't aware that our record this year was 54.
that's my analogy of like getting stuffed at the goal line, dude.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you just keep getting stuffed at the goal line, have to kick a field goal, stuffed at the goal line after and then eventually you'll fall into the end zone if you have enough tries, and like in 54% apparently gets us to the playoffs some of the time, and then we have and then we have a chance to win the World Series, right? But like that's not the approach that we want. We don't want the luck approach or like win by on the margins. Like I keep saying, this is a team that works on the margins, but we need to get into the thick of things. Like like I keep saying, we're the newcomers to the dance. We've been acting naive. Our whole analytics and front office and everything needs to be able to communicate better to the coaching staff, that needs to be able to communicate better to the players, and the whole chain needs to get better. And I think our team is maturing, but I'm not calling for heads. Like I want our ownership and our front office and our coaching staff to be able to pull this off. I still have patience for them, but it's getting late. Like it's getting thinner as we go on. I'm good for one more year here, and if we don't make the playoff next year, then like I'm going to be, that's a different situation. That's calling for a change, a big shakeup. But right now I've got one more year of patience for this whole staff.
What I think is funny with Matt's comments right there, and that I kind of agree with him, and it's funny is that that's the Mariners fans' complacency. And like I agree. But it's it just goes to show that we're like so okay with like maybe being okay. Like, oh, well, maybe this 54% thing will work. Maybe we will fall into the end zone.
But this time we're talking about signing the biggest free agents. We're talking about actually bolstering
Bro,
the
we
team.
said the same shit last year.
No, but
that's just being
And
a
we're going to
Mariners
say the
fan.
same shit next year.
Yeah, when we finish at 88 and 74 again.
We've added Luis
Bet on it.
Castillo.
Watch
We've
us
added,
come back and say the same dumb shit next year.
Yeah, we added.
We will,
added
we
Luis
will.
Castillo like midway through the season. I want someone.
And we added Robbie Ray before that, so we've bolstered our pitching staff, right? And of course, you can say what you want about Robbie Ray. I still think he has an impact to make on this team for the next couple of years. And I think he'll be a big part of what we have going forward. So we still have Robbie Ray, Luis Castillo as our big free agents and trades, but like this is the time for the next one. We need to up the ante, you know? It's so right now is the time. If we sit on our hands during this off season, then I'm not going into next season looking very happy if we just have Teoscar again and then a couple moves on the margins, you know? And hoping that I don't know. What do? We need to add big bats. That's obviously what we need to do. Strike out less, add slug.
Maybe someone like
It doesn't even have to be left-handed anymore.
Maybe like a Carlos Santana type.
Oh,
would be good.
For only $7 million, that's cheap. You'd be losing money not to give him an offer.
3 Santanas for 1 Teoscar.
Dude, Santana was a Gold Glove candidate for first base in the National League this year.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you want to talk about the snubs? Or
I was actually just
Yes.
was about to hit that segue. Good job, Nate. Speaking of Gold Gloves, how?
That's a great segue there, Patrick. Hit it hard.
How is Eugenio Suarez not an automatic shoo-in for the Gold Glove, let alone not even nominated?
I could see like not winning it, but at least in the finalists. He's not even a top 3 Gold Glove this year.
The only thing I read that, is kind of goes against his Gold Glove contention is his range,
Yeah.
which is like, okay, I guess.
It is
There are
about the range.
rangier third basemen, but dude, the accuracy, the power.
And the range, they're talking about side to side. What about his ability to crash towards the plate and get those little half choppers that he bare hands and chucks to first like a rocket 100 times out of 100?
Dude, he's amazing at that.
And you know what? It's the East Coast bias. It's the
You can
East
blame
Coast.
it on a few things.
So
The East Coast bias. I mean,
That's definitely one of them.
let's look at some East Coast bias that's happened to the Mariners throughout history. Edgar Martinez, DH, took 10 years to get into the Hall of Fame. And you want to know why? Because a bunch of East Coast writers who vote for it, a bunch of New Yorkers in Boston, New England, all of them, they were like, oh, he only plays part of the game.
and now there's an award named after him.
There's an award named after. The Edgar Martinez Award is the award for the best DH. Took him 10 years to get into the Hall of Fame. You know who got into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot? David Ortiz. Played in Boston, DH. Ken Griffey Jr. was the highest Hall of Fame pick in history with 99.3% of the votes, because there had never been a unanimous Hall of Fame decision in baseball history. And they felt Ken Griffey Jr. didn't deserve to be unanimous, which means some writer from New York purposely left him off of his ballot so that he would not be unanimous. The very next year after Ken Griffey Jr. was inducted, guess what? The first unanimous Hall of Fame decision in baseball history. And who was it? Mariano Rivera, a closer for the Yankees. You want to talk about playing part of the game? And don't get me wrong, Mariano Rivera is an all-time great. He is amazing. More men have walked on the moon than have scored runs in the playoffs off of Mariano Rivera. That is a crazy fact, and it's 100% true. Does he deserve unanimous? Sure, maybe. But so did Ken Griffey Jr. But because he plays in Seattle, they had to leave him off. And then Mariano Rivera gets the unanimous decision. And you're looking at it the same with Suarez not even being a finalist for the Hall of Fame or for the Gold Glove. And the reason is people in New York are not staying up till 1 a.m. to watch Mariners games. The East Coast time difference, they're going to bed. They don't
Yeah.
give a shit.
The West
And-
Coast palate, they fall asleep to those games.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
They pick one and fall asleep
Yeah.
if they watch it all.
And just
And usually it'd be the Dodgers. It'd be a National League game rather
Yeah.
than an American League game, or it's Shohei pitching, so they're watching that game and not ours. So, yeah, no, you're totally right, dude. And Ken Griffey Jr., like, how could that guy not be a unanimous Hall of Fame decision? Like, easy. Everybody knows, like, in their hearts that that's the thing. And there is a huge bias. In New York, the New York bias is the biggest. And the East Coast bias, that's where all the media is centered. A lot of the media is centered, and everyone is on that time palette. And everyone, that's where the biggest market teams are. They spend a lot of money to be those guys. Like, they want the stars. They are they are who they are, and that's their culture. It does suck to be in the Northwest. It's not the best place for people to like pay attention to.
We're tucked away. We're in the corner.
I mean, they should still have like a scrap of integrity. Like, how are you gonna watch Ken Griffey Jr. and not be like, that dude's goated? Like,
because he didn't play for New York, and he spoke out against the Yankees.
Yeah, and they knew. They're like, if I put that writer was like, if I know if I put his name down, he's 100% unanimous.
He knows who's on the ballot next year. He knows what's gonna happen.
Gold Glove is voted on by coachers and managers.
But
so it's not East Coast writers that are voting for that. But the snub still exists for Eugenio Suarez.
I do want to say
Cal Raleigh.
The third basemen that are finalists. I mean, Matt Chapman has been a platinum glover twice, I think. He's won multiple Gold Gloves. He is one of the best third basemen. Bregman, he is really good over there, but we watched him make multiple errors against our team. Towards the end of the season, he had, I think, quite a few more errors than Suarez did when I looked it up, and it's just that their range is so good, and it's the way they play and position too. The Mariners have Suarez playing shortstop on left-handed batters. You know what I mean? Like, they shift JP way up the middle and have Suarez playing shortstop. So anything that goes that way goes against his stats that way. Like, he's not even playing his position about half the time. Like, they're shifted so hard, even though there's rules against it. Like, they shift as hard as they can. When you go to a game and see where he's standing, it's crazy. And that works against him. These other teams play their third baseman more standard, and they get more stats like based on that. Like, they save more runs because of that.
I would also argue that his hitting took him out of it.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Interesting.
Isn't it interesting for, I guess you could argue against it. But I'm saying it's the Gold Glove, dude. We're not talking about hitting.
No,
and I think that really is a factor.
That brings
I agree,
integrity.
yeah.
It is, because a perfect example of that was Brendan Ryan. When he was on the Seattle Mariners, had the best fielding percentage of all shortstops in baseball, and it wasn't even close. But you know what he also did? He batted like 198. And you know what happened? He did not win the Gold Glove. And the thing is,
he's not a marketable player.
Yeah. And the Gold Glove is half a hitting award. It shouldn't be. It should 100% go off of defensive metrics.
So it's like a popularity contest, but you have to be popular, you have to perform offensively, or no one cares about you, right? If you're hitting under 200, everyone's like writes you off. So yeah, I guess what you're saying is more it's a popularity contest, and part of being popular is your offensive production. So to be a marketable and lovable player, you have to be hitting bombs and being clutch in the right moments. How is it a
popularity contest if coaches and players vote on it?
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think those coaches know what they're talking about because they have the front row seat. They see it every day, and they know who the best third basemen are because they see it.
No, I don't agree, because I saw the splits between all the finalists and the winner, and then Eugenio, and it was like he had better stats than all of them. Like, he was the better, like, defensive
I think
third
he should have been a finalist over Jose Ramirez, but I do agree that Matt Chapman should always be in that argument, like, for the Gold Glove there. He makes amazing plays. If you watch those teams all year long, you'd see them making great plays as well. You know what I mean?
Do they vote on just, like, how plays look? Like, do they look, like, complex, or do they vote on the stats?
They vote on how many games they play and how well they play, for sure.
For sure.
Stats. I mean,
it's coaches and managers.
How can you play in more games than 162?
I think there's more
Gino played in every game.
And started 160.
Started all but one.
Yeah. 161. He started
He
and
had
played in
valuable.
162.
He had more ground balls hit to him with fewer errors too than all the other.
Yeah,
finalists.
that's right. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That was the stat
Like,
I think
don't-
Owen was referring to. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's coaches and managers voting on it, I'd say there's probably more of subjective eye test than anything, and they vote on who they think looks the best out there when they play against them. You know what I mean?
Is it the eye
And
test? Or
well, that's what we call it. If they're sitting there in the dugout and watching them play every time they play them, they're like, "Fuck, that guy's so like better than every third baseman we play. Like we can't get anything past him. Then they vote for him, you know? I don't think all the coaches and managers are looking at all their defensive stats and their defensive runs saved and their range, but I do think like they vote based on who they think is the toughest third baseman to play against. And I think those third basemen are the guys that play in their position towards the line and save runs a lot. And
I don't
we
know.
shift our guy to play shortstop all the fucking time.
The stats are also fucked up because, like, what if you have an ace on the bump and, like, he strikes out everybody?
The
Then
stats
it's
are
just-
always
It's just like,
fucked up.
That's actually, this is going to circle back to more bias against the Mariners specifically.
Yeah.
Like when Felix Hernandez lost his second Cy Young to Corey Kluber.
Oh, that was a snub.
That was a snub and a half. And I was actually listening to 710 radio, and they had a baseball writer who voted for the Cy Young on, and who voted for Corey Kluber over Felix Hernandez. And he was like, oh, yeah, well, Felix Hernandez had a better defense behind him. So that's why Corey Kluber is the better pitcher, because the defense wasn't. It's just moving.
bullshit.
It's East Coast bias to the Mariners.
And now there's analytical stats that do things like FIP, like fielding independent pitching is what it's called. So it's like their ERA separate from what happens based on like the fielding stats. It gets so in the weeds, you know what I mean? Like everyone knows based on like how that pitcher performed who should win the Cy Young, especially that year. But that's kind of the beginning of the analytics phase where people started seeing things like fielding independent pitching and like, oh, Kluber's way better because of the defense behind him. No, dude, that pitcher was so dominant all year, regardless of what defense is behind him. Like Felix absolutely deserved it. I think he had a bigger body of work too that year. I think he pitched more innings.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that hurting my heart pretty hard. And like Eugenio Suarez not even being mentioned hurts my heart too. That dude deserves it 100%.
Agree. And should he have won it? I mean, you're exactly right. He's up against Matt Chapman, whatever. But to not
good
even
luck.
make the top three is complete.
You cannot
bullshit.
tell me that Ramirez on the Guardians
Right.
is a better third baseman than Suarez.
Suarez had a better year, I guarantee it. He looked awesome out there all year. He was a rock, man.
And this also kind of circles back to the Mariners being hard to get free agents because shit like that matters. You know your hitting stats are going to go down. You know you're going to get overlooked by the media. It's a hard sell to get people to come to the Pacific Northwest. And we've seen it before with massive free agent signings, like when the Mariners signed Robinson Cano. We had to significantly overpay because that's what it took to get someone of that caliber to the Seattle Mariners.
And that led to us getting Nelson Cruz, right?
Yeah.
It did.
We needed that dynamic duo as well. He was like, I can't be the only guy here sparking. Like I need that dynamic duo action. And it worked. It worked really well. Right now is the time to kind of add that to our team. Like we need another dynamic duo. Let's sign another couple big guys. Like this is the time for this ownership group to do it.
All right. Yeah, I agree. And to wrap this kind of all up,
Go D-backs.
go D-backs. Mariners need to sign some big names. At least
Resign
one.
Murph too. While we're
Yes.
wrapping it up,
Murphy
Please.
and Brian O'Keefe is
DFA.
DFA'd.
You know who we got? Caleb Ort.
Great. Bullshit relief pitcher from the Red Sox claimed off of nowhere land. Like, who cares?
Cool.
We'll see if we can make it work, though. The Mariners do work magic with some relievers that they get.
Big meh.
Topa. We saw Topa and Spire make big turnarounds this year. Maybe we can get Caleb Ort to do the
Yeah,
same.
don't
maybe
think we
we can
can.
have the best group of middle relievers.
I would love if we turn around Caleb Ort's season and then trade him at the deadline and for a speedy utility guy. That'd be great.
Well, fans, this will wrap up our season. This will be our last episode until spring training, unless something crazy happens in the offseason. Our loyal fans, will bust out an episode right away to make you guys the most informed Mariners fans in the universe. Thank you all for sticking around with us for the whole season. We had our highs, we had our lows. We had so much fun doing it. We couldn't do it without you guys listening week in and week out. So thank you so much for sticking with us. We're all frustrated, but we all love the team, and we hope for bigger and better things next year. And for the entire off season, thank you all for listening, and go Mariners!
I have to piss so bad.